All right. Well, good morning. My name is Stephen Ammons.
I'm John Ammons. Good morning.
And it's going to sound, luckily, we're on camera right now, so you can tell that there's two different people talking. But here in a moment, we're going to go off camera just so that we're not taking away from the screen and blocking part of the screen. And I know you can click those three little buttons at the bottom, and I think you can hide anybody's videos that you don't want to see. There's also a hand raising symbol there on your bar at the bottom. So if you have a question, click that button, it'll raise your hand, and then I'll unmute you to be able to ask the question. We will be taking questions at the end, do a Q&A and kind of going through that. But if you have a question during it, you're not going to interrupt us in any way. So if you want to ask a question, just hit that little hand button.
We should see it.
We should see it.
If we don't, we promise we'll at the very least get to you at the end in the Q&A, but we will try to catch you on live.
All right. So I'm just going to say a quick prayer before we get started with this, and then we'll jump right in. Father, thank you so much for today. God, thank you for your goodness. Lord, just thank you for the people that are in this webinar today or the people that are going to be watching it later, Father. Pray that it would just allow them to do more in their store, God, reach the community in a bigger way. Lord, just thank you for who you are. Thank you for sending your son. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Let's go ahead and get started. Well, thank you, first of all, for being here. We're excited about these two new features. We've got other features coming. We're really excited about what's on our development calendar. So some really cool stuff. We'll be making another announcement or two here in a few weeks if you're going to be at the CPE show. So we just have lots of good things happening. So make sure you tell other people. If you're at the show, tell other people. We'll have access to this webinar. We'll post it onto our YouTube page later so that you'll be able to do that. If you missed the last webinar on remote sales, I'm going to be adding that video. It should publish today. So you'll have access to that webinar on the YouTube page as well. So if you did not have an opportunity to watch that one, it's a really good one. We go through all the different ways to do offsite sales and remote sales. And version 9 makes that super easy. So today I will start off. If you're not on version 9, none of this is going to apply to you, but get on version 9. I know there's not many left that are not on version 9, but let's go ahead and jump in and get started with the webinar. All right. So first of all, let's talk consignments. Oh, you know what? Let me hide our video because I don't need video. Hide the screen.
And now who is talking?
All right. Yeah, exactly. Let's talk consignments, though. Consignments really do offer some unique opportunities for your bookstore or your shop to bring in additional product, support local artisans, and then also reduce that risk of financial risk because you're being able to use other products. So whether you're featuring local authors, handcrafted goods, whatever it happens to be, you want those products to stand out, and it really gives you a way to offer different products in your store. So in the session today, we're going to be covering advantages, strategies with consignees, practical tips for managing them, and then we'll definitely dive into the software and show you in depth how to set it up. John's got to actually cover that portion.
Yeah, I'll show you that. I've written documentation as well. One thing to note though is these features are not going to be in your software until next week's weekly cloud update. So what we're talking about today, you won't see in your software until next week. And so just wanted to tell you that.
All right, so let's dive in and elaborate a little bit on consignments. First of all, I'm not sure why that image is not showing up on yours, but that's okay. All right. So some advantages for consignment sales. For one, lower risk. There's no upfront cost for the inventory. The other thing is you have a diverse inventory, so offering a wide range of products. Community connections, probably the biggest one on this list, is just a way to connect locally with your local community, bringing in local products, bringing in, just trying to get people in the doors. Sorry, this one. And then offering unique products can obviously attract more customers. Because here's one thing: when you're bringing in consignments, they're excited about their products, and they're going to tell people, "Hey, go to the gift shop and check out my products. They've got them in there. They've got lots of cool stuff in there." And then it also allows you to, try some different new products, see what works in the store. And if you find a product that works really well, then maybe you find a gift vendor in our industry that offers a similar product and kind of expand on that particular product. So those are some of the advantages. Want to kind of go over some advantages for your actual consignees. So when you're talking to them, being able to tell them, here's some advantages, is for one, where you have access to their customers and they're sending customers your way, they're getting exposed to your customer base. So their products are being seen in your store. They're getting marketing exposure for those products. And then they're minimizing some of their cost of having to go to shows and things like that. So there's definitely advantages for you and the consignee. All right. How to find new consignees. So maybe you're not doing consignments right now, or maybe you want to expand on your consignees. Just wanted to list, kind of did some research on how to get some new ones. For one, partner with local artisans, crafters, engage with community groups, events. You can go to online resources like Etsy or social media and try to find people in your area that are selling different products. Partner with schools, libraries, churches. I know one boutique here, they actually partner with one of the high schools. And so the students in some of their classes, like their ag class, they create products and then they sell those products in that boutique. And so parents go in, it's a way for the parents to come in and support their kids, but it also expands that. So that's just one little example. Partner with churches, trade shows. That's probably one of the biggest ones. I know a couple of stores that they actually, when they go to craft shows, they have a little booth, but then they go around and look for different products that would fit into their store and kind of approach them. Hey, do you want to set this up? And so that's one other way. And then word of mouth. They're going to be excited about it. They're going to be talking to their friends. And so hopefully create more consignee opportunities. All right. So let's move on to the next slide. Just a few best practices. For one, clear agreements. Make sure upfront you're very clear on what this partnership is, how often you're going to be paying them, whatever it is. Just make sure that it's really clear and that you have, get them to sign some type of contract or agreement so that you're on the same page. Inventory tracking, you're obviously using BSM. Most of you, I think we have a couple that are not using BSM. If you're using BSM, we're about to show you how easy it is now with the new methods. And then the other thing is, just like anything else, I put on here display strategy, but you know how important it is to have a highly appealing display. But you just want to make sure that it's nice, aesthetic visually. So, all right. So I'm going to turn this over to John, and we're going to kind of see this in action. Give me just a moment because I'm actually going to share one of our screens. Give me just one moment. All right. I'm sorry. Give me just a moment. I'm just sharing my screen out here real quick. Okay. Sorry about that. I was talking and apparently I hit the mute button. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to John, and he's going to start and kind of go through and kind of show you a few things. Let me go ahead and get out of POS here. Okay. So the first step here is you have to tell the system what vendors are consigners. So what I'll do first is I'll go and show you how to add a new consigner. And so I've got a few consigners already in the system. And so we will, first of all, we just added this enhancement. In IVVM, you can press enter, and that's going to automatically say, do you want to create a new vendor?
I'm going to go ahead and say yes. What's a good name, Steven?
Steven.
Okay.
What's a apple pie
Apple pie
display?
displays. Okay. I like it. Okay, sorry.
Oh, give me just a minute. I've got somebody trying to join in here. Sorry, y'all give me just a moment.
Donna is here. Yay.
All right, Donna, it's good timing. All we've done is gone into IVVM, hit enter.
Okay, so here we go. We've got the vendor, the consigner name. The biggest thing here, you can fill out any of the contact information you want. For this, we're not going to do that. Biggest thing here is you're going to check off that this is a consigner. And then what you're going to do here is you're going to set a fee amount. And so we've got 4 different options for how you do the fees. I'm going to just do a flat fee suggested. This is basically the whatever fee you're going to charge plus the retail. How good are these pies, Steven?
$3.50.
$3.50?
Really
Okay.
good pies.
Really good pies. Okay, so what we're saying
Go ahead and
here
put a vendor address
is
'cause it'll make it look nicer.
what would you
Vendor address. I'm just going to put in this very popular information here.
I've been there. Such good pies.
Yeah,
Oh,
I agree.
Their pies are amazing.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and save this.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and choose save. Again, we're doing the selling price plus our fee. And so you can see I'm doing a flat $3.50 on top of the pies. And so I'm going to go ahead and choose save here. And so the next step is we're going to go and actually add items to the inventory for the consignee items. I'm going to choose add here. I'm going to go ahead and just use the create item number button. And then we're going to say this is a apple delight. And so what you're going to do here.
Sounds delightful.
It does. And so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go into the vendor field and we're going to put
It was
number 3. It's going to say this vendor is set up as a consigner. Would you like to configure this item for consignment? I'm going to say yes. What that's going to do is it's going to automatically change the grouping. Oh, how do I have that? Let's see. Okay, it's going to automatically set your grouping to consignment. It's also going to set your min max to 0 and 0, and then take you to the on hand field. How many of these warm apple pies do we have? 10. Sorry, I was going 5. Let's see. Numlock.
Nope, you're just not in that field because you clicked that up.
Oh, okay.
Now you turned numlock off, didn't you?
I did.
There you go.
Wow. Okay. So we're going to have 10 apple pies. Again, here, what are we going to sell these before our markup?
$4.
$4. Okay. $4. It's going to automatically add that to the hour price 1 based on, so again, this is coming from the vendor setup where we told it we're going to do a flat $3.50 charge. So I'm going to go ahead and choose save. I'm going to grab this item number here just real quick. Put that on the clipboard so it'll make it easier to ring up. I'm going to go ahead and choose save. And then I'm going to go out. And then we're going to actually sell those items. And so let's go into point of sale. And then top secret password. Let's see, we're going to go ahead and go in. And so here, this is just where you're going to sell the items. And I'm going to choose, I'm going to go ahead and put that number back on. And so that's going to ring up our apple pie. We've also got some other consignments on here, so we're going to sell a few of those. So let's do some sour candy bulk. And let's do some gallery art. And so, all right. So, we went ahead and we've rung up some consignment items. I'm going to say, I feel generous today. I'm going to give someone 63 cents and we're going to cash that out. Let's go ahead and we're going to send an email receipt and print it. Go ahead and hit OK. There's your receipt. I'm going to go ahead and go out. And so this is really where the consignment program really takes off here. And so we're going to go into the program Consign, CONSIGN. And what it's going to do is on the left side, it's going to list, these are all the vendors that I have set up in IVVM as consigners. And so based on how often you're going to pay these consigners, you can add one at a time to the right side. If somebody comes in and say, hey, do you think I could get my money now? You can go in and you could add them across, and you could go ahead and give them. For this though, I'm going to go ahead and
we're just going to act like we're
paying everybody. Everybody's getting their money today. So I'm going to choose you again. I'm going to show you. You can double click to move one over, and you can double click to move them back. We're just going to add them all though. So we're going to add all of them. And so putting them on the right, this is going to pay them and clear their quantities. And so I'm going to go ahead. In the middle though, we've actually done this as well. If you have, by default, we have a file for QuickBooks users. And so if you have a check number where it'll actually generate a check listing. So maybe your next check is 5543, 6. That's going to start cutting checks starting with that number. It creates a file that then you can import into QuickBooks and will automatically print your checks as well. So I'm going to go ahead and choose generate reports and see here. It's just telling you, hey, make sure you're ready for this because it's going to clear all the counters for everything sold. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes. I'm going to continue, and then it's going to come up with each vendor. And so this is Steven Sweets, shows you how many were sold, the price, and then how much the cost is there. So
it also does give them their stock level, so that when you're giving them this report, they know how many they have left in stock.
Also, this is configured so that this will go into a windowed envelope. So as long as you just fold it, it'll go right into a windowed envelope, so that you don't have to, fold the paper, like that. So give it just a second. It's going to do, that's a good point. It's also going to save these to your system so that if you ever want to go back and look at what you paid a vendor for a certain date, those are being written to the system as well. And then here you go. We've got Canvas and Clay by John, sold an item there.
Oh, we got the new one.
And then our new vendor, Apple Pie Delight. They still have 8
Apple Pie
in stock.
Displays.
And then we show here that we sold 2. We're giving them their cut. And then after it does all 3, it's going to give you a summary report so that you know everything that you're paying out. And so that's what this is here. And so again, this is going to be saved to the system as well. I'm going to go ahead and close. So now you've got all of your vendors got their individual report showing what they're getting, what their stock is remaining in your store. And then I'm going to go ahead and close. And it also created that file that you can import into your QuickBooks. And then you can go in, it's going to cut 3 checks, starting with check number 5546 or whatever I chose. And so that's the process. Again, they're windowed envelope. It's already ready for windowed envelope. So you put the check, put the paper in the envelope with the check, send it out, and you also have your summary report. So that is the consignment process.
Okay, Rachel, I see that you have a question. You can go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question. And it won't let me unmute you, so you'll have to unmute your mic there.
Found it.
There you go.
Okay, so I guess when we've done consignment in the past, we've not done like a flat fee. We've always said, we need 40% or something like that. Is there a way to do a percentage instead of doing a dollar,
yes,
like a $1 fee?
Yeah, and we covered that on the at the very beginning. There, you actually. So John,
I'll go back in here.
He's going to go back in, and then
so let's pull up number 3. That's fine.
So you actually have 4 different options on that, and so
right here you can do the selling equals the fee plus suggested. The fee is deducted from selling, so that once you sell it, if you sell it for $10, we're going to just know that maybe you take $4 out. It's that way. You can also do a percentage fee, and that can be a flat fee, or you can just do a percentage. And so we've got those 4 options just to try to kind of cover our basis. So I hope that answers your question.
I think that the wording suggested retail, that may throw it a little bit, because that's not the suggested retail. That's like our cost from the vendor. I don't know if anybody else thinks the same thing, that that's just a little weird wording.
Yeah, we use the suggested retail because it's going to take whatever you put in the suggested retail and add whatever fee or percentage.
It's going to auto calculate the our price one based on what you want to sell it for. So the retail, we're saying the suggested retail of $5. And then if it's a $350 addition flat fee, it's going to automatically calculate your our price one to the $850 or whatever that is.
And this is version 1. So if you have suggestions, hey, send them our way. We're more than welcome to listen to those for sure.
Last question.
Sure.
About that. If we're printing labels, what prices? I mean, both prices aren't going to show up on there. Just the.
It's just going to show the total price. Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. I'm going to stop sharing the screen for just a moment so that I can go back to the slideshow. Give me just a moment. Hey, there's Rachel.
Hi, Rachel.
And
Hi,
there's
Bill.
All right. And let's present back to the window. All right. Okay. So that's consignments. And again, we're going to have a Q&A at the end. So any questions you have, we're going to have another opportunity to ask those questions here at the end. All right. So now we're going to actually talk about inventory locations. And I just put a little blurb. I'm just going to read it. It's easier. Efficiently managing inventory across multiple locations within your bookstore, like a storeroom, a warehouse, a storage area. It ensures better organization, accurate stock tracking, and smoother operations. So keeping track of where your items are stored will help reduce time spent searching for products. It'll minimize stock discrepancies, allow strategic restocking. So whether you're doing bulk inventory, reserving items, or whatever the reasoning being, we're giving you a way to manage those inventories now with really unlimited inventory locations. So we're going to jump in. I think right now you can have up to 5 locations. So should be plenty of what you need. So, all right. So we're going to go ahead and jump in. Actually, we're not going to do a lot here. I'm actually going to jump right back into the software and have John show you the inventory location. So let me get to that. So let's go ahead and have John demo that. All right.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is you actually have to turn it on. Again, these options won't be in your software until next week when you get your cloud update. So I'm going to go into SYS, and I'll post some documentation at the end of this, probably to our users group, so that you have these instructions. So you won't have to remember these. Let's see. So first thing is we're going to go into SYS. Configuration files, change miscellaneous configurations, and that field number is 2039. And so you set it to a Y. Once you press enter after setting it to a Y, it's going to bring up your locations. Okay, so here you've got up to 5 locations. I'm only using 3 right now. But what you do have to do is you have to designate what your selling location is. So this is where the quantities, when you sell it at point of sale, this is where the quantities will come out, as well as your receiving location. So when you receive something, this is where they're going to come in. Typically, I think most stores are going to want to receive on the sales floor, and I think they're going to set these to the same thing. But for some items, that might be where you maybe only have it in the stock room. This gives you that ability to do that. And so right now, I'm just saying that I've got 3 areas, but I'm actually anything that I sell, I'm going to take off of the sales floor, and I'm also anything I receive. So most items I'm receiving, I'm putting directly on the sales floor. So that's why I have both of these set to the same thing.
Yeah, and I'll just say one thing, because if you have that set to stock room, that sounds really nice, but if you put them into the stockroom, every time you want to sell one, you're going to have to do a transfer. And we'll go through the transfer process here in a little bit on how to do that. So that's why typically it's going to be selling and receiving from the same one. I would say more of transferring over stock into the stockroom would probably be a more typical situation. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and choose save. Then make sure you options and then save that. I'm going to go back to enter program name, and then I'm going to show you how this works. So I'm going to go into IBM, and I'm going to go to add, and I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to let it create me an item number, and let's see. I'm going to put that on clipboard in case I need it, and then I'll just put this as I'll just put local for location. And then what you do, you can see now that down here by the on hand, there's a L button. So once you do that, I'm going to go ahead and say I have 10 of these. I'll say I have 15. And so I'm going to, if you press enter, it's automatically going to go to the locations. And so then I have 15 on hand. This number does have to match. So I'm just going to say I am going to put 10 here, but I do want to put 5 in my warehouse. And so if these numbers don't match, you'll get a warning saying, hey, these don't match. You need to fix that. And so here you can say I'm putting 10 on the sales floor and 5 in the warehouse. And I'm going to go ahead and choose save. And then I'm going to go ahead and choose save here. And let's see here. And so that's how that works. Ringing up items in point of sale. That's actually it's the exact same way you always have, the way you've always done it. And so I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to say, I'm going to sell 5 of these local items. Oh, that's the name of it. And so here I rang up 5. I didn't put a cost, so it's free right now. And I'm going to go ahead and cash those out, send an email receipt as well as a print. And I'm going to go out and I'm just going to today I'm just going to kind of go back and forth so I can kind of see how that number's changing. And so let's go ahead and go in here. And now you can see that my quantity has gone to 10. And so if I go into locations, it's deducted from the selling amount, 5 of those. And so that's how you do it. Receiving the items, it's the exact same way. Let's go ahead and let's choose save. And then, so I'm going to throw this on a PO. I don't think we really have to do this, but I will go ahead and add this to a PO. How many do we order, Stephen? 50. 50? Wow. You really like they're item. Free. They're free. Okay. Let's do 1,000. 1 million. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So you can see that I've put 50 here. Just so you know, this is a great feature. There's a receive PO button at the bottom of IVO now. So if you didn't know about that, I'm going to go directly to receiving from this PO. So I'm going to hit receive PO. Do you want to receive the purchase order? Yes. And so let's see here. I have my printers. Oh, yeah. You don't have that printer. And so I'm automatically, I know that they're all coming in. So I'm going to just do a complete merge. Look up, it'll default to today's date. There's my production order, invoice. And then I'm going to go ahead and choose OK. Are you sure? Yes. Let's go out. And then here's my receiving. Received 50 of those. Now my on hand is 60. Let's go. I did print correctly. And go out. And we'll go back into IBM real quick just to show you. Now you've got 60. And so, and then on the location, those go into because of the receiving, that's where it knows where to put those. And so now I've gone up to 55. Let's say, you know what? We want those 5 that are in the warehouse. We need those moved to the show floor. And so what we can do, I'm going to go ahead and choose save here. And let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and save. Now the transfer program, it's going to be really hard to remember this, but the transfer program is T or transfer. And so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to press enter.
And so what you do is you're going to paste or not paste, you're going to scan the item. And then you simply have a from location and a to location. So I'm wanting to transfer those 5 from the warehouse to the sales floor. So from the warehouse to the sales floor, a quantity of 5. And I'm going to go ahead and submit.
There's a 10 key if you want to do it on your screen.
Yes, and there's the 10 key. And so go ahead and cancel out of that. And we'll do one last thing. We'll go ahead and look at the item. And now you've got 60 in the on hand. Go to look at the location. And now you can see that those 5 from the warehouse are now on the sales floor. So I'm going to go ahead and choose save. And really that is multiple locations in a nutshell. And so let's see what happens if you sell more than are in the sales location. Good point. Let's show you that. We're going to go sell, you know what, I'm going to put in that I have. So for instance, you have, 5 in the warehouse, 60 on the sales floor. Let's go ahead and choose save. Oh, you know what? I have to put, let me go back a screen. I'm going to say that now I have 65 and let's put, say 5 of those. So you know what? Accidentally, one went from the warehouse to the show floor, but the show floor didn't know it. So let's go in here. And so let's see, go ahead and ring that. And we're going to choose 61 at that item number. So we're overselling. We only have 60 on the sales floor, but let me delete that. That's a big oversell. Let's just delete that item. And so now, okay, so we have oversold because one of those in the warehouse made its way over to the sales floor. And so we're going to go ahead and still free. Go ahead and email the receipt and print it. And now let's go in. And I'm so glad you had asked that question. I wanted to cover that anyway, and I forgot to. But let's see. So we're going to go into IVM, change, put that number in. And this is going to show you here, if you go to locations, you can see here now that you've got a negative quantity, which that kind of tells you basically one of the ones from the warehouse came over. So you would want to set this to a 0 and say, yeah, one of those came over from the warehouse. And then we're going to choose save. And so that quantity will go negative. But I hope I answered your question. So let's see. I'm going to go ahead and get out. And Steven, I think we're ready do you have to set something up special to?
Yeah.
Enable it. So we'll go ahead and we'll start taking questions. Kevin, I hope that answered your question.
And give it just a moment because
does it alert you somehow since IBM was showing 0? You know what? We will write that down. Currently, this is all version 1. And so we are open to suggestions for sure.
All right. So give me just a moment. I'm actually going to let's see. Change this back over. Hi, Rachel. You keep popping up every time. All right. And let me get back over here. All right. So important question that everybody asks, and I'm going to bring us back on camera now. You can see John's balding head there. Actually, you didn't bald. You just, but how much do the features cost for this? And that answer is, if it'll go, free, right? So these features that we showed today, there is no additional fee. It's just a part of the software you have. As long as you're on version 9, then you already have these. We have a couple of questions. It does not integrate in with our accounting software. If you have had our accounting software from way back when, it does not. That the AP stuff in our software is frozen and has been for a long time. So it does not integrate with that, but it does integrate with QuickBooks. We do generate that file. So it may be something you can use that file even if you're not a QuickBooks user with other accounting packages. What happens when you sell more? We did that. Yeah. Does it alert you somehow since IVM was showing 0? You wrote that one down, right?
I put that down. It does not right now.
Is that what you wrote?
Yeah. You can't read my writing.
All right. Can you transfer from the warehouse to clear the negative? I don't know.
Yes.
Yes. So if you moved one, it would take that to a 4 and take that negative. Oh, yes. Duh. Yeah.
Yeah,
It can. Yep. Good question. Okay. I'm going to, let's see, move on to the next screen. So we're going to do a Q&A. I'm actually going to stop presenting this show so that if anybody wants to be on screen, you can. You can also keep your video hidden if you want and just ask the question either through the chat or this. Let me just go ahead and show you the last slide if there's, okay, thank you for attending. So I'm not going to bring this back up. So thank you for attending, but let's go ahead and start the Q&A. All right. You turned your pen off. Okay. So we want to answer any questions that you have. Will we still be able to run the IVP report then for consignments? That's not going away. Give me just a second, Valerie. I don't know that answer. Is the IVP, it's still a grouping, so you should still be able to run the IVP report because it's looking at the consigned grouping. So I would assume that's not going away. But John, did you see that, the process in IVUL to clear out sales? Do you know if is that being obsoleted? The old way, the IVUL clear consignment fields?
Yes, that should be. Actually, one step that's in the document that I didn't cover is we recommend running one after you create your consignor vendors. You go ahead and create one more consigner, and then you send all the consignees over so that we can just make sure all those are cleared. And so that is in the document. That should clear all those quantities. So that should be, yeah, that is should be obsolete now. And if it's not, I'll try to put that in. That will clear those the first time you run it. So thank you for bringing that up.
Donna, I realize that's not helpful for you, but we will figure out what the best option is for you if you're still using it. So we'll talk to you about that one individually. John, make sure we call Donna and kind of go over how to convert existing. And then the other thing I do want to announce or say is you do have the option on the Consign program that if you just go into Consign, you can actually click View All Consignment Products, and it will pull up a master list of all consignment products. It'll show you the vendor and whatever it is, and then you can double click on those consignments and go straight into IVM from the Consign program. So that program is there. So, but Donna, we will look at the, is the old option gone and obsolete? Does it not work anymore? I don't know that answer to be.
We created the new process, so I would assume
it's going away,
working, but it should be going away.
Yeah, I would assume it's going away. All right, Valerie, you had a question. You'll have to unmute. I don't have the ability. I clicked something wrong, so I can't unmute anybody.
No problem. Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a question about the inventory locations.
Perfect.
When you vend, like, so we do book tables at other spots. If I'm putting something into Slack, does it have to be on the sales floor, or can it go straight from a warehouse into Slack and then sell?
You can transfer from one of your inventory locations to another inventory location that's not the sales floor. So you have the ability to move it from location to location, whether it's the selling location or another location.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. Can you show the vendor report that shows how much to pay them if it's not automatically sending to QuickBooks? Well, it's just going to be, it gives you a summary report. So when on that last thing, when you generate reports, it's going to give you an individual report for each of your consignees, but then it's going to give you a consolidated report that shows all vendors and all payments on that screen. So you'll still have that ability. And the one thing that just make sure you didn't miss it, we save all those reports. So all those PDFs are being saved. So if you wanted to go back, we sort it by vendor name first. So you can look at all those different vendor ones. If you Bob's Tires or whatever it is, you can look at all those consignments together.
Yeah, you do have access to all of the reports that print during the reporting process. There is an option. I didn't cover it, but in Consign, there's an option that says view consignment items. If you click that, it's going to scan your inventory for anything that has a grouping of consignment. And so you'll see the ones I created today. And then you'll also see existing ones. So it might be a good idea if you have any in the system that you're no longer using. You should be able to, from that view consignment items, you can double click on each item and go directly to IVM, and just, you might, take one at a time. And if you're not carrying it anymore, you can delete it or just handle that however you want. So that,
and if it's an old consignee vendor, you can also use the IVGL program for global changes to change the grouping. You can change the grouping from consignment to discontinued, or one of the other grouping types.
Yeah, so that you don't have to do one at a time. In other words, if you had maybe you had 50 different items for a consignor, going through that 50 at a time would take a while. So you can go into our IVGO global changes, say for vendor Bob's Tires, terrible name, but I'll go with it. You can go into Bob's Tires, say Bob's Tires down at the bottom, say change the grouping to discontinued, and it'll go through and take all of those out. So that when you do view consignee items in the consign program, it should be only your active consigner items.
And Valerie, it'd probably be worth you going in and going into the consign program next week when it hits your system, and just click view consignment items, just to see if you have any from before you were there. See if there's any in the existing system. I don't know if you're actively doing consignments already, but just so y'all know, the main reason we did this is the consignment process was a very, very manual process. It was almost discouraged to use it because it was such a manual process to do it, that it was like, just don't do it at all. And so we didn't want that, because it's such a good community outreach to be able to sell somebody else's products in your store. Because I'm telling you right now, there's nobody more excited about their products than them, right? They're going to be excited that their products are in your store, and they're going to tell all their friends, go to their store and check them out, right? Because they're excited about it. So that's free word of mouth. That's like free marketing, free advertising for you.
It's like email marketing, but a captive audience.
So I'm telling you, and so we wanted to make it so easy that a caveman could do it. Is that it?
Don't offend cavemen.
We just really wanted it to be an easy process, and so that's why we've gone to this. And then we've had
and this was an enhancement request. I think I talk about this every time I get in front of you guys, but y'all are the ones that have the ideas. And random story, just yesterday, for 20 years now, any enhancements we do, I'm the one that QCs them to make sure they work. So I've had like a spreadsheet that I'll be like, here's the enhancement we did. I go type it into a spreadsheet. And then it just hit me yesterday after 20 years. We export stuff to Excel all the time. Why am I not exporting this data for myself? So it's hard to think of those enhancements because you've done it this same way for forever. But man, I just keep that in mind.
Yeah, and Bill, give me just a moment. I'll let you ask your question in just a moment. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about, why did we do this inventory change? We have had this request for years from a lot of different people, but it was such a huge like we've been working on this for a long time, because it's such an anytime you're messing with inventory, it's linked to ordering, it's linked to reports, it's linked to all these different places. And so it was a massive change that we had to do, but we've had this request from probably 20 stores. And so really, we really wanted to give you the ability to manage that inventory stock, especially when you have overstock, when you have 100 of something and you don't want them on the shelf, but when you're counting the inventory, you don't want to have to worry about counting those. And so that's why we created this program.
And I would say that with version 9, that's really what untied our hands to be able to do a lot of these changes. So I hope that you've seen that with version 9, that we're just pumping out enhancements. Our development team is just rocking it.
And we've got some new announcements coming at CPE here too, coming up.
Be at CPE.
All right, Bill, you're up. You'll have to unmute yourself if you didn't unmute yourself.
Yeah, just first of all, you said that they're looking for any uh, in, information about this product. Do you want it sent to enhancement form just like the other stuff, or just directly to you for the new?
Absolutely. No, the enhancement form is always the best place because that gets broadcast to our entire team.
Okay. And the second thing, it deals with location, but it's not really in what's here. If you have a book that you're doing some cross things where you have the book located in two locations on the sales floor, is there a place to or a way to do that within the system?
Not
now?
currently. Currently, you have 5 buckets. You could create a second. One of your locations could be, floor
Alternate.
location 2.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah,
You could
yeah.
create one called alternate 2 so that it would tell you, where that particular item that it's in 2 different places. But then which
yeah.
one are you selling? That
You
would
do
be
have to pick one
Yeah.
selling location,
Yeah,
and
no, that'd
what
be-
you would look at is probably the second location would go into arrears, and so
Yeah.
you would see that negative amount. So
Yeah,
not
okay.
currently.
And I
Okay.
can't think of a way to do that programmatically either, just
Right.
because how do you know which one that was grabbed?
Yeah,
Because you
to
have,
put a different.
for used books, you have required prefix that you can use so that if you're selling a purpose-driven life new and you're selling a purpose-driven life that's used, you can use the required prefix. And when you scan that item, it's going to come up and say, give me the first digit. And so you could do something like that, but that'd be more of a workaround.
Okay.
All right.
Good
All right.
question.
Great question. All right. Anybody else have any questions? We hope you're excited. We're really excited to push these out. It's exciting to see new features that we know can really benefit you as a bookstore or gift shop. All right. Anybody else have a question? So when we sign off today, you're definitely going to probably have a question because you'll be like, I should have asked that. So when that happens, feel free to email sales@bsmgr.com or support@bsmgr.com. Really either one of those, and we'll definitely answer those questions. We're going to be trying to do more of these webinars. I know we're actually overhauling some of the training sessions. John and I are redoing some of the training sessions. And so we'll be offering those for the existing stores as well. So we're going to be redoing some of those. You'll hear our voice a lot, but we're going to be doing some like in how to do initial inventory, how to do inventory. So there's some cool stuff coming. We've got a lot of stuff on our project board that's really just going to help you as a bookstore owner or employee just to be more efficient. Our goal at Bookstore Manager is to help you be more efficient, adding these quality of life changes. Just again, we just want it to be easy to use. Sorry, Bill, you've already met your quota. Go ahead.
These features you said weren't going to be until next week, but if you go into the train session, can you run through this and run
Yes.
through these
Yeah.
other things? Okay.
Oh yes, for sure.
Yeah,
You'll have to copy the training data first. So
Once
after
it
the
hits your
enhancements there, just run train and then copy the data, and then you can mess with it all you want.
And we do a slow rollout. So part of the stores go Monday, part of the stores on Tuesday. So by Wednesday, when you come in, you should have that ready to go, ready to fully utilize.
Yeah, by Wednesday.
Is that alphabetical?
No,
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 no.
it's not. It's we set up an order.
We
So-
rolled dice.
Yeah, no, just to let you all know that's something. It's a really good question. We have probably 5 or 10 of our more power users that we roll out updates to first.
It actually starts on Sunday night. We do a handful, 10, 20 stores, so that if there's, I check everything before we send it out, but nobody's perfect. And so if something happens on that Sunday night, that's good. It's only a few people to fix. We get it fixed so that when half of the stores download it on, Monday, hopefully there's not an issue. If we find an issue on Monday, then, it hasn't affected all the stores. And so hopefully by Wednesday, or Tuesday, when we do that last rollout, that we're good. So,
And if you've been down twice on a Monday in the last year, just know you're one of those lucky first rollouts. No, I'm just kidding. Valerie, you had a question. Go ahead.
Yep, this is about the inventory locations again. I saw when you were changing like the on hand amount, our system is set up that they have to select the reason and initial. If someone were to go in and shift the locations, like how you did when you were clearing the negative, because the on hand number didn't change, would it still require them to notate?
I'll tell you, I tried to think of every scenario I could when I'm doing this testing, but I did not test that. So
Okay.
IVML. And I'll see how that's handled.
Okay, thank you.
'Cause I know that IVE is how you manually adjust inventory.
Yeah.
And so if you use IVE, I did account for that. I accounted for manually changing it. I accounted for sales, but I didn't think of I turned the mailing list, or the recording off on mine. And
Yes.
so I'll go turn that on and I'll see how that works. I'll have to test that. I can't tell you right now.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good question.
Yeah, and please, if you think of some ways to even make this better, or there's a shortcut, or it felt like it was a little too many steps to get something done, that's what we want to know. We want your feedback. We really do value your feedback. I hope you see that. And that's how we get these changes, like John was saying, is only through your feedback. And we want BSM to be the best software and the most functional software, the easiest to use. And so that's why we keep making these changes, is because we want it to be so easy to use that anybody can get it.
And efficient.
Yes.
Take out those extra keystrokes. That's really what we're going for too, is,
Yes.
just get it going. So.
Yep. All right. I got about 1 or 2 more minutes. We're trying to keep this under an hour, so we still have a few minutes left to keep that under an hour. It's okay if we go over an hour. Does anybody else have any questions or discussions or anything? Just to highlight real quick, remember, I'm going to go on and mark the video. If you missed the remote sales webinar, that will be on our YouTube page later on today. So if you want to go back and watch that, it was a really good, very informative on how to do remote and offsite sales. What's the best combination, what equipment to use.
Try to build those relationships. So consignments, getting you outside of those 4 walls.
Yes. Yep. We definitely want you to do that. And just so y'all know, we have tools that we hear all the time. We didn't know you could do email marketing through Bookstore Manager.
Websites.
Yeah, websites. Like, we do all of these things, and we integrate them in together. Like, just an example of integration is if you have our email package and you send an email out saying, hey, this Francis Chan book is coming out next week, right? And you feature that product in your email. If you have our email and you have our website, the customer can literally click on the product in your email and it will take them directly to the website to buy it. So there are a lot of integration things happening in your system, even ones you may not be fully aware of. So really take advantage of those. If you have questions on anything we talked about today, whether it's something we talked about or didn't talk about, send us an email. We'll be glad to answer any of the questions. Okay, we've got about 30 more seconds. And then if not, we're going to sign off. Thank you so much for attending this. It is so helpful to get feedback and questions and everything live.
We love you guys. We're here for you. Hope
We
you
are
know
praying
that.
for you.
We genuinely love you guys.
Please be praying for us as well.
I'm so emotional.
You are. Don't make me cry.
All right. I think if we don't have any more questions, we'll go ahead and sign off here.
We are looking forward, those of you that are going to be at CP in Florida here in a couple of weeks. We are so excited. We are going to be offering a training. We'll be covering some of these things and a lot more. So plan to attend that training. We know it's early. It's 8 to 9:30 on that Sunday morning. We'll get you out in plenty of time to get over to praise and worship. We'll also email you probably in the next week information about the training, where it's going to be located, all of that. But we are so excited to see those of you that are going to be at the CPE show.
All right. Y'all have a blessed day. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye, everybody. I didn't see any more questions.